Hello, beach friends. Today we will be taking a stroll down Fort Myers Beach. And it's very hard to mention Fort Myers Beach without mentioning the darn hurricane that blew through here. Now, the Goods was a place that was affected by the hurricane. It's basically empty. But they have set up a new shop, which came in very handy because I realized I forgot to put on sunscreen. So I did have to purchase some sunscreen. They probably have your UV shirts and any of those little things you might have forgotten. So if you're in the Times Square area, and I'm going to point the camera north, so up that away, the Goods is just a little bit down the street. If you forget something, you might be able to find it over there. So we are here at Fort Myers Beach. I am not getting eaten by bugs, so that part is amazing. Some people here, so I'm on the north end of the beach. The tide is what it is. It's not great. It is what it is. I really did want to look for tiny shells. I wanted to take my time and look through tiny little things and not get eaten alive by those darn no-see-ums. So that is what we're going to do today, in addition to seeing a whole bunch of really cool coquinas. So if you're ready to see what else is out there for us today, let's go to the beach. I'll set the scene. It is hot. It is Florida. It is summer and the tide is So we're here to see what we can find with all of those things kind of working against us, as if I had to say. These are not favorable conditions, but we are still absolutely going to find things. I see first off, we'll start with a hinged sunray Venus clam. Now that hinge, if you do find something that is hinged like that, you're going to want to decide if you want it flat like that, like kind of like a big old butterfly, if you want it closed, because once that hinge dries, it will snap. It becomes rather brittle. That is a common auger. I do have to admit, it's a little bit on the common side. There's nothing really outstanding about that particular auger. Oh, it was really hard to see. The sun was right overhead. The reflections were coming off the water, so it was really hard to see. But I did manage to grab this. I think that's a fossil. I have no idea what that is. And then this little turret. It's a piece of a turrid of some sort of boring turrid. So we got a mystery and a boring turrid. Neat. Your cross-barred Venus clam. It does look a little bit like that Imperial Venus clam, doesn't it? Just a little bit, but that very, very, very common. Although it would be terrible that you wouldn't be able to know a very common shell like the cross-barred Venus clam. This is a little cone. If I had to guess, I think maybe a Florida cone. It's devoid of all the color, so I'm not sure. Now this was kind of neat. This is a dark seraph that is very misshapen. It is not supposed to have all those weird wavy parts of it. So that makes it weird and different, and I'm definitely going to keep it. So that's kind of a weirdo shell, not in a bad way, in a very good way. So we do have a little bit of a weirdo dark seraph. Now we will find others, so I will show you. Those waves are not supposed to look like that. This is a lettered olive. Pretty nice looking lettered olive, I do have to say. It's got its point, some nice color. Now here, you know what? This one's a little bit weird. So this isn't totally fine. This is also a dark seraph. And on the bottom, it's like that bottom, it's a little bit, there's like a gap in the shell. Should not be there. I'm going to keep that one too. A bubble. Bubbles and the coffee grinds mean Wenzel traps. And I have found Wenzel traps here. So I do have to admit, really, really hoping I will find some Wenzel traps. Oh, a twofer. So we have an operculum. That's the operculum from a lightning whelk. I can tell because of the shape of it. Lightning whelks are open on the left. And then here we have just a juvenile fighting conch of some sort. Although the aperture is a little bit beat up. Oh, there goes the There goes the operculum, and I'm going to leave that shell behind. This is a tinted cantharus. I know, it's a little green. It's a little bit beaten up on the aperture or the opening. But nonetheless, it is here. It is a tinted cantharus. I do enjoy that hunt. I don't have to keep everything, although sometimes it's hard to leave them behind. And, all right, got ourselves, if you were thinking pear whelk, you were right. And there is another little clam there. I don't know what that is, but I'll hold on to it. I'll be nice to it anyway. It's a slow day, so retain all the shells that I can. So we do have a little pear whelk and some sort of little clam. And another auger. Again, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Just your common auger. Oh, coffee grinds. All right, that's looking pretty good. So the conditions look favorable. I mean, the water is not churning. So in theory, if they're here, we should be able to find one or two. While I'm looking for those little tiny lentil traps, I found this lettered olive. Another lovely lettered olive. Okay, so I see a sandbar out there. So the waves are breaking over it, and I can tell because the color of the water changed. So I know that it is a little more shallow here. So I walked out there just in case. You never know. This is where I might maybe expect to see some sand dollars or just something else out here. So I made my way out to that little sandbar. And as it turns out, yeah, there's just not a whole lot out here either. Now, why is the water so green, right? Well, my understanding is that because we do have the Caloosahatchee River, which has fresh water come down, and it mixes with the Gulf water. So here in the Fort Myers area, in the rainy season, it can look a little weird, but it's just because fresh water and salt water are mixing. Another little pear whelk with a drill hole, and that is just fine. That is a keeper. A little pear whelk. And okay, this is a beach bowl. This is a giant Atlantic cockle, but this is the thimble size. So this is a beach thimble. The giant Atlantic cockle. Okay, this, I don't know what that is. I think it's a bone or something. I can't really tell. It's obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously. It appears to be organic. So I don't know what that is. Maybe somebody else can help me out. I think it's a bone. And then I did look up that crucifix shell. It's not a piece of that either. So I don't know. It's probably part of a fish. But I did hold on to it just in case it was something kind of cool. Like this little juvenile fighting conch. It is cool. It is a little broken. That's not to say that's not a little keeper. A little keeper of a fighting conch. Oh, and that's kind of a formidable piece of glass, isn't that? Yeah, so I do always wear beach shoes just in case, and I will be removing that glass from the beach. Any of the garbage I find will be coming off the beach. And this was weird. It's like nothing, and then all of a sudden this random ended tulip. Now what I thought was a little bit interesting, I kind of was just like, oh my gosh, a shell. But look, it was broken and it had to repair itself, and the lines don't line up. So it kind of started, making its patterns again, but it didn't line up. I thought that was interesting. So I want to change tactics because I was kind of looking for the lentil traps. I'm really creeping along the beach, but I'm really not finding all that much. So I'm going to pick it up a little bit. Pick up the pace. Here we have another one of those dark serifs, and there's no gaps, no waves. It's kind of more of a streamline looking shell. That is the way it should look. The dark serif. And then, oh, is this our first lightning whelk today? Lovely little lightning whelk. And then along the way, I'm not going to spend too much time, but I was picking up a lot of the augers and a lot of the serifs just because I can. I do happen to like those. All right. And normally I feel like I get down, I'm like, oh, look at all these little shells. And well, there's a piece of one. It's not some sort of drill. There's sharp-lipped or thick-lipped or sharp-ribbed drill. Yeah, there's just, here's a spiny jewel box. It's actually a little bit spiny. That's a keeper. just not that much. All right. Well, here, this is kind of neat. So this is a seraph. And at some point, some coral thought it would be a good place to set up shop, but unfortunately that is not the case. But I do have, now I have coral and a little shell, all in one. That is a little apple murex. Yay, yay! I was looking for little shells. I got one. Got a little apple murex, fantastic. All right, what do we got here? Oh, this is also a murex. And that is a lace murex. Yeah, it's all sorts of barnacles. It made a lot of friends in its lifetime, and they're still kind of hanging around. I'm going to keep it anyway, just because I am going to hold on to that lace murex. And a cone! The hard knock life shell. Yeah, the Florida cone. They always seem to be a little bit on the beat up side. So that is a Florida cone. And, oh, a little banded tulip. Yep, that's a cute little shell. Oh, it's broken. I don't care. It's fine. When you hold it like that, it's just fine. I'm going to keep that. Oh, that's really pretty. So that is a dark seraph that is actually dark. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, when they have all their bumps and stuff. That's very pretty. All right, what was I hunting for? I see some coral. Oh, there's a little NASA. What else? And I try to be careful. So I think, yeah, all I got for these two NASAs. So those are little NASA. Bruised NASA. We have a couple different ones. I'm not good with the NASAs. That I'm good with. That I can tell you all day long. That is an apple murex. Very easy to identify. When I started out, though, it was a little hard for me to figure out the lace and the apple murex, so I understand the struggle can be real. But olives, super easy to identify. You're not going to confuse that with any of the other shells. That is a lettered olive. All right, not really a rack line here per se, but so I'm kind of hoping I get down and shells just kind of reveal themselves to me. But it's not what's going on. It's mostly crushed up stuff, little pieces. That's just an end of a shell. So sometimes you get down there and there's little shells like this little nutmeg. Sometimes it's just crushed up bits. So this little nutmeg will make its way into my shell bag. It does look like it has a little drill in it though. I don't know if that's what that is. Another beach bowl. So this is another giant Atlantic cockle. This is like more of a shot glass, right? We had thimble. All right, maybe that's more of like a quarter cup, not a shot glass, but anyway, another vessel. If I keep going, maybe I'll have a whole kitchen set. All right, so this is a lightning whelk. And it looks like there was a little drill hole on the other side. I like the tail, it's kind of orange, but it is slow. I'm going to leave that for somebody else, in case somebody else would like to add a lightning whelk to their collection. I'll do a change, though. I'll do an exchange. I'll leave that lightning whelk and take that bruised NASA. All right, it's nice to at least see a couple people down here. But the struggle's real. There's not a lot of places to stay. There's still a lot of places that are trying to get put back together after that hurricane. Another Florida cone. Yep. Hard knock life shell. All right, this looks kind of promising. All right, more bits and pieces and smashed up things. What's here? That's a pretty auger, a little purple one. I do see some transverse arcs. I do see that purplish tagalus and some coquinas. There's another NASA. Just don't know what is going to catch my fancy. There we go. There is another Florida cone. Yep, I do see. Yep, that's seraph. It was actually the opening that I saw, not so much the shell. Right, some bubbles. Lots of coquinas. Here's that is a little Florida fighting conch. Yeah, cute little thing. You know, depending on what you're hunting for, you could have like plopped yourself here, I suppose. So there's definitely tons of bubbles, tons of those little tiny clam shells. No Wenthel trout. Yeah, I was kind of see like how deep is this little pile, and these it's really just the surface. These nice little shells really just on the surface. What do we got? We got, oh, it's an imposter. That was a fly speck seraph. There is an auger. That one's kind of pretty. Nice color. Nice dark purple. See some very, oh, I see a lightning whelk over there. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. I would say that's a little keeper of a shell. Oh, another little, there's a little lightning whelk, another little clam. And fighting conch of the caramel and white variety. Cool. That's a keeper. And what about this one? Oh, somebody tried to snack on that critter. They weren't successful. That hole does not go all the way through its shell. So we have another little fighting conch. Awesome. All right, I have been chatting away, so I'm going to be quiet and let you all enjoy a little bit of beach time. A channeled duck clam. They're very thin. I'm surprised that they survive at all, but they are a very thin shell. The channeled duck clam. A little drill. I'm gonna guess that's a mauve-mouthed drill. Don't think that is the Gulf oyster drill. A neat little shell. And this was perfect timing because someone recently asked me about the Paul Newman shark eye. This is a Paul Newman shark eye because it is a shark eye and the eye is blue. So that is a Paul Newman shark eye. This is a lace murex. It's a little thing. It's worn down a little bit. If it was worn down anymore, I would definitely have a harder time trying to figure out what exactly that is. But that is a lace murex. So that is an alphabet cone, very desirable, and just the piece of it. Oh man, that is broken in such a way. That's like a gotcha shell. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping that gotcha shell. All right, another lettered olive, very shiny, pointy, dark, lovely lettered olive. Do like a good shiny olive. Oh yeah, those conditions look good, but I'm struggling. I am not finding that elusive Wenthel trap. I did find this little pear whelk. It's actually quite a nice little pear whelk. Another little whelk. A little lightning whelk. Oh, I like this one. Yeah, color's a little bit darker. I do like the color on the aperture of that. That's a pretty little thing. A lightning whelk. All right, apple murex. Yep. It's a fun little shell. And it's incredible. They start just at the top. The very top is what they start as, and then the shell just kind of keeps growing. Interesting. So another juvenile fighting conch. Too bad. One of my favorites. Unfortunately, I'm not finding the bigger ones, but that's okay. The juveniles are pretty too. And just in case you were wondering, what is that other shell? That is a hinged transverse arc. I almost never talk about it because it's like the sand. I don't even see it. It's always here. So in addition to your crossbarred Venus clam, these arc shells are also, for all intent and purposes, ever present. They're always here. Look at this little marginella. Kind of, to me, it kind of reminds me of like a baby cowrie. Well, probably because I don't ever get to find cowries. Cowries are, the opening is more in the middle. This one, it's more like offset, but it does have like those little teeth in it. So that's just a little marginella. Kind of neat. And, oh, a Florida prickly cockle. That lovely interior color. Awesome. And another auger. Right, that one's kind of cool. What do we got? A little fighting conch. Well, there's all sorts of little stuff here. What else do we got? Oh, well, that is a apple or lace. I don't know. Remnants of a murex of some sort. Tons of coquinas. What else is here? No Wenzel traps. Not yet, anyway. I'm trying. Oh, what do we got here? Wow, that's kind of pretty. So that is a fighting conch. Lovely bands going up the middle. Very nice. And yep, I'm still picking up the sereths and the augers. That one's actually really pretty. And I'm being very careful there's no critters in them, especially when you're shelling in the water. All right, what do I got? So I got something. I didn't want to like mess around with it over the water in case I dropped it. Oh, you know what? I think I came up empty. But what I was looking for was this little horse conch. And it's a little beat up, but because of the orange, I can, ID it very, very quickly. And I thought, it is a little confusing to look at that compared to some of the drills. So just for a second, the drill, it doesn't have the tail as long, and it's more of a squat shell where the horse conch is like a little bit more streamlined. So sometimes I'm hoping it'll help just kind of putting them next to each other. So the horse conch on the left and a drill on the right. And at least you can kind of tease apart what that horse conch looks like compared to some of the other little shells. If they're orange, it's very lucky. I just saw a flash of something awesome. So I'm chasing something. Yep. And I was right. That is pretty awesome. Now, I hate to say it, but this animal probably was recently deceased because the colors are so vibrant, especially that color on the inside. So that animal probably was in that shell not that long ago, taking care of it. And, well, it's empty, so we're going to hold on to that shell. All right, I did check up the beach a little, but there honestly wasn't all that much. So I ended up back down here with the coquinas. We're watching them do their little dance. Now, the coquinas are actually one of the most abundant and ecologically important mollusks on Florida beaches. They are specialized for life in wave-washed sand, and they filter feed on algae and bacteria that is swept to shore. They are a critical food for shorebirds and surf fishes. So I know, unfortunately, they're like the supermarket of the beach. These are important little critters and help kind of feed a lot of the other things that go on here. Now, these coquinas have two fleshy hoses that extend from their shell, and they are siphon tubes. One takes water in, and the other expels it after the oxygen and the suspended particles of food have been extracted. Now, coquinas can survive by filter feeding on the plankton that's always present in the seawater and obtain additional nutrients from the particles which are stirred into the water by wave action that is on the beach. So they are actually, I know they're little, they're kind of cool little critters. And this is frankly a cool shell, probably one of the cooler ones, although that other one I found. So this is a pear whelk again with nice color on it. Kind of strange that you have all these little pieces and then, you get a couple of cool pear whelks. So about this time I decided I was going to change location. So I am going to go back to my car and I'm going to head to another part of the beach. On the off chance where I'm at is just kind of like a really terrible place to go shelling. So I moved up the beach, not too far. I'm now at Connecticut Street. And how far is it up the road? I don't know, maybe a mile. And it was too hot. It was really hot. I wasn't going to walk it. So I got back in my car. I drove up the beach a little bit. There's really not a lot of people here. At this point, the concentration of things that are going on the island is really at the north end of the island once you kind of come over the bridge. And what's here? Well, we have some more coquinas. They are lovely. They are dancing. They are doing their thing with their two little siphons. Oh, and they also have a foot. So they'll have those two little siphons. They look like little bunny ears. And then they have the other part of their body, which is their foot. And that kind of helps them bury into the sand. So not much going up there. What's in the water? All right, the sand's looking pretty flat. Not looking like there's all that much here. like there's stuff in the water. I'm looking for something that I can really kind of pinpoint. Kind of like when a predator like separates the prey. Okay, so I see something here. I see that is a fish bowl. I'm wondering what's going on there, so I'll be back. So like when the sharks just want to kind of follow one fish, I'm trying to just follow one shell, and yeah, there's just not much here. The tide is, it's on the lower side. It's just not helping. And it's hot. It felt like 108 degrees. It's been hot. But honestly, in the water, it's really not that bad. If it was horrible, there would be 0 people on the beach. And there are people here enjoying themselves. It's much cooler in the water, even though the water is a little on the warm side. So that's what's going on here. I'm struggling to find anything. There's a little bit of a dry pile here. I do see coquinas. A cross-barred Venus clam. What else we got? Oh, and there's your transverse arc. So that's like the sand. It's always here. Another coquina. And another. So again, there's definitely shells here. Another place you could plop down and just kind of pick out the little shells. Although I'm looking for something a little different. Now this reminded me, I had a similar experience with a rose petal talon. That is what that is, a rose petal talon. And because of the stripes, the colors, I was kind of thinking maybe it would be a candy stick talon or that sunrise talon. But no, it's just a rose petal talon. It's still lovely. Even with its little hole, it's pre-drilled for me if I wanted to make a little necklace or something. And then I could not help myself. I had to check out the fishbowl. As it turns out, there was a live lightning whelk in it. The people had snorkeled for it. You can see that mask there. So I just kind of made sure that they knew that it was a living creature, and they did. They were local. They were going to put it back in the water, so all is well. So that's what's going on the beach right about now. I'm not quite done yet, though. There's one more thing I want to tell you about. Kind of take my last look at the beach, and let's talk about beach bags. What I carry my stuff in. This is my original beach bag. I do think it was a Halloween bag for my children many years ago. And I don't care. I've been using it, and I elongated the strap, and it works, and it just hangs the right way. So it's all beat up. I don't care. Sometimes I use that. I did go a little bougie, and I did buy a Sunsport canvas shell bag. It's beautiful. It says, let's go to the beach. It's got a turtle. So I kind of designed it. You can design it. And for me, it's beautiful. I love it. It just doesn't hang right when I'm kind of working at the beach. I need my hand free, and I want my bag to kind of hang a certain way. This one I bought, it was pre-made. I love the turtle. So I actually have 2 of those, and I use them periodically. But when I'm filming at the beach, I like to kind of have the bag hang a certain way. So between my orange bag and then this bag that I got from SWFL Shell Guide, I will put a link in the description box below. If you're thinking of getting a shell bag, you didn't want to get one from Sunsport Canvas, you can get one from her too. It's not going to be designed, not going to be able to get all fancy and stuff, but it absolutely works, and that's another one of my go-to shelling bags. So I have many different ones, kind of depending on my mood, where I'm going. I may pick a different bag. And in addition to those seashells, I do put the garbage in that bag. So today was only 1.25 ounces of garbage. Yay! And in total, I've removed a little over 37 pounds of garbage from the beach. Today, I removed a couple of Florida fighting conchs, some lightning whelks, some bubbles, some banded tulips, that one nutmeg, the apple murex, couple of those drills, some bruised nassas, the moon snails, the top of that alphabet cone, channeled duck clam, the giant Atlantic cockles, the Florida prickly cockle, the couple coquinas, some of the murexes, a banded tulip, a bunch of those augers. I got some dark serifs also, and that one boring turret, some lettered olives, pear whelks in graduating order. We have a spiny jewel box. I did keep one crossbarred Venus clam, some cones, and then some weirdos. We have those weirdo serif shells, that mystery shell, the rose petal talon, the one little horse conch, and then the big sunray Venus clam. So it was a summer day in Fort Myers Beach, and then I wanted to give you just a little bit of a closer look of that weird kind of wavy serif. So that went in my special box of shells. So that was kind of fun. Patreons, thank you. Thank you so much for thinking of me, for coming with me every week, for monetarily supporting me. Thank you. And everybody else who comes along, I think you're awesome too. Now, I am taking a little break. I am not going to be back next Sunday. I'm working on an auction, but follow me on social media, and who knows, I might go live. Maybe I'll give you like a little update about what's going on behind the scenes here. So I will be back. I'll try to keep you posted as much as I can. Enjoy yourself these next couple weeks. I have tons of old videos to watch. So thank you for being awesome, and I will see you real soon.